Isn't it kind of a head scratcher? Like, AI, this tech that can do amazing things, but then it gets completely uh, bamboozled by stuff a kid would spot instantly.
Hmm.
Makes you think, what's really happening there?
Oh, absolutely. And as the material we looked at really shows, this isn't just some funny little quirk. It actually points to a pretty fundamental aspect of how current AI systems learn and maybe more importantly, where they hit a wall.
Right.
So today, yeah, we're going to explore why even these really advanced AIs can stumble over things that seem obvious to us.
Okay. And we've got two really helpful sources for this. There's an article, AI Blind Spots, Pattern Discrepancy and Error, and also a great YouTube discussion from two research covering the same ground. They kind of complement each other.
Yeah, they do. And our mission today really is to dig into why AI struggles when things don't quite match what it learned. We want to pull out those key insights so you, the listener, can really grasp this crucial part of how AI works out in the wild.
Okay, so the first big thing that just jumps right out from both the article and the YouTube video is this whole problem of like limited versus unlimited possibilities. Maybe let's start there.
Yeah, good place to start. So, at its core, AI learns by finding patterns in its training data. Huge amounts of data, but still a finite amount. The article really nails this down. AI develops a finite learned pattern, basically, a limited dictionary of things it recognizes.
But then there's the real world.
Exactly. Which, as the YouTube discussion highlights, is, well, infinite. It's constantly throwing potentially unlimited new patterns at the AI.
It's kind of like teaching someone using only flashcards of cats and dogs and then expecting them to recognize a zebra out on safari. The training data is just incomplete.
That's a great analogy. And that this gap, this difference between the learned patterns and the infinite real-world patterns, that's what the article calls pattern discrepancy.
Okay.
And the YouTube video talks about the same thing, AI facing these unlimited test patterns it just hasn't been trained on.
So, okay, what actually happens then? When the AI meets this new thing, this pattern it's never seen before, does it just sort of guess or try to make it fit?
It basically tries to make it fit.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have an exact match in its, let's call it memory,
Yeah.
it looks for the closest match among the patterns it does know.
Ah, okay.
And, that's where the mistakes happen, that attempt to categorize the unfamiliar. The article says the AI then makes an error, and the YouTube speaker describes pretty much the same outcome when an AI doesn't match any known pattern.
And this is where the idea of an AI blind spot comes
Yes.
in, right? It's like there are just gaps in its knowledge.
Precisely. The article defines it really clearly. A blind spot happens when the AI's learning patterns don't cover all real-world cases. It's not that the AI failed, it's just its knowledge has holes.
Right.
So it tries to force these new unknown patterns into the boxes it already has, which naturally leads to misclassification.
So it's fundamentally a limitation tied to its training, not necessarily a flaw in its processing, just it hasn't seen everything. The YouTube discussion calls this a blind spot too, an area where it cannot recognize or completely misinterprets.
Yeah, and to make this really concrete, both sources use a really helpful example. Imagine an AI, and all it's ever been trained to recognize are images of dogs and images of apples.
Okay, so its entire visual vocabulary is just dog and apple.
Yeah.
Got it. So then what happens if you show it a picture of, say, a fox?
Well, since Fox wasn't in the training data, the AI literally has no concept for it. The article puts it like this: learned patterns.dog, apple, test pattern.fox. Then it explains the discrepancy. The AI has never learned fox, so it wrongly recognizes fox as the most similar known pattern, dog.
And the YouTube source explains it similarly, right? If you only show it dog and apple images and then suddenly here's a fox photo, well, the concept of a fox simply doesn't exist for that AI. It just can't compute fox.
Exactly. It's like asking it to identify something using a word it doesn't know. So what does it do? It looks for the closest pattern, like the YouTube video says. It sees the fox, forelegs, fur, pointy ears, tail, and it thinks, that looks kind of like...
A dog?
Yeah. It makes the incorrect connection, as the article puts it. Foxy a dog. Approximately dog.
But here's the part that's really kind of mind-bending. The AI makes this mistake, and it has absolutely no idea it's wrong. This is the error blindness thing, isn't it?
That's it exactly. The article points out AI cannot detect its own blind spots. It doesn't have that little voice saying, wait a minute, this isn't quite right.
Wow.
And the YouTube speaker really drives this home, almost with a sense of astonishment, saying AI doesn't know it's wrong. And worse.
It'll just keep doing it.
Yeah, it will continue to repeat the same mistake over and over unless someone or something steps in to correct it.
And this isn't just like a one-time glitch.
Yeah.
Both sources are pretty clear that this can be an ongoing issue. The article calls it continuous error.
Mm-hmm. Continuous error. Which brings us straight to the solution, or at least the mitigation. Continuous learning. Both sources stress this.
Right. To fix that fox blind spot, you actually have to teach the AI about foxes. You need to add fox examples.
You have to explicitly add fox as a new pattern through more training. Otherwise, like the article says, errors persist. It's not going to figure it out on its own.
And the YouTube discussion really echoes that, talking about the need to continuously update the AI with these new real-world patterns. If you don't,
it becomes obsolete, or, as they put it, potentially useless quickly.
Yeah. Because without constantly expanding what it knows, the article warns that blind spots remain or grow, gradually reducing AI accuracy and quality. It's like its understanding of the world starts to shrink relative to reality.
That's a good way to put it. It's like learning a language and then never speaking it, or learning new words. Your fluency just fades.
So, okay, stepping back a bit, what are the bigger picture implications here? If AI has these blind spots it can't see, and it doesn't automatically learn new things, what does that actually mean for how effective it can be long term?
Well, it's pretty significant. The article even has this stark author's note, limited AI lifespan. It basically warns that an AI system will eventually lose effectiveness and die, metaphorically speaking, unless it can somehow learn to detect its own blind spots and continuously learn new patterns.
Wow. Die, that's strong.
It is. And the YouTube speaker sums it up by calling this whole issue a fundamentally weak point of the current generation of AI. It highlights why you always need ongoing management and verification. You can't just train it and forget it.
It really makes you pause, doesn't it? Especially when you think about using AI for, important decisions. Even a small blind spot, if it's in the wrong place, could cause some major problems, couldn't it? Socially, economically.
Oh, absolutely. Think about AI used in, say, medical diagnosis or financial modeling or autonomous driving. If the system encounters something truly novel that falls into a blind spot, its inability to recognize that novelty or to adapt could have really serious consequences. It severely limits its reliability in dynamic situations.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The main takeaway here seems to be that an AI's smarts are totally dependent on what it was trained on, its specific data set.
Right.
And when it runs into stuff outside that training, this pattern discrepancy we talked about that can create these blind spots, and crucially, the AI itself doesn't know they're there, and it can't fix them on its own.
Exactly, which is why this idea of continuous learning, of constantly updating and expanding the AI's knowledge with new data, new patterns.
Okay.
It isn't just like a nice-to-have feature, it's absolutely fundamental.
It's essential to keep it functional, accurate, relevant in a world that's always changing.
Couldn't have said it better.
Okay, so here's maybe final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. We've talked about how AI learns from the past, from known patterns. So how well can it really handle things that are truly unpredictable or creative, or maybe even problems that humanity itself has never faced before? It kind of makes you wonder about the real inherent limits of this technology when faced with genuine, messy, unfolding reality. Something to think about.